Practicing medicine without insurance is possible. Imagine a private practice where you get to see your best patients every day, providing medical services you truly enjoy, all without the hassle of insurance. My name is Dr. T. Nguyen, and I'm a recovering specialist who was completely burned out from insurance-based medicine. I pivoted into direct care, where patients pay me directly for my medical services and have never looked back. If you're a private practice owner or planning to become one who's looking to be free of the grind of insurance and you're craving simplicity, efficiency, and connection with patients, you are in the right place. This podcast will help you map out your exit plan and uncover the mindset needed to thrive in today's economy. Welcome to the Direct Care Podcast for Specialists.
Do you know how to use a virtual assistant yet? If not, this episode is for you. When I opened my practice in 2018, I feel like I'm one of those people where it's like back in my day. Well, that's exactly what's happening here. Because back in my day, we did not have a virtual assistant, or at least it wasn't a thing at the time. We hired full-time people at their full-time income with full-time benefits. And boy, was that really expensive. Your staff will be the number one or number two most expensive thing you do for your private practice. And this continues to hold true until now. So why choose a virtual assistant? A virtual assistant is somebody who does not have to be in the office to provide services that can help you focus on being the CEO or being the physician. You are the physician. You are the visionary. You need to focus on doing your work, and that needs to be preserved and protected. And you do that by hiring people around you. Now, traditionally, we hire people in person to come into the office. They clock in, they clock out. But now that we have access to a virtual assistant, I kind of feel like where was life before it? Because there's so much more economical for small businesses like mine. For instance, I hire staff at around $6 an hour to $10 an hour to perform various jobs. Whereas if I were to hire somebody in person, which I used to back in the day, that would run me around $20, $25 an hour with the expectation of additional benefits. Now, as much as I would love to support the local person, I also have to look out for my bottom line and my overhead expenses. And so if the option is there and the people are agreeable to the rate, then why not take advantage of that and see how it could work for you? Some people will argue and say, that sounds like exploitation. $6 an hour doesn't sound like much at all. Are you sure you're doing the ethical thing? And I actually had that question early on when I was first working with a virtual assistant many years ago. And I asked her, I said, how do you feel about your pay rate? And she tells me that she gets paid more as a virtual assistant with a consistent schedule with less stress than she did when she was a nurse in her home country. And I was like, okay, so we're on the same page that you're okay and I'm okay and like we're all happy here. And she's like, yeah, I want to do this kind of job. So keep that in mind before you make a judgment about what you pay. Just make sure that, hey, if they signed up for this voluntarily, they want to do it. And so I moved on. And the more I spoke to different people in different parts of the world, we just realized how everything's just really expensive here in the United States. And as you might already know, inflation continues to skyrocket here. So it's getting more expensive to run your business. Take advantage of a virtual assistant or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I actually have like 4 now doing various things. So I'll share with you what that looks like. Even if you're working part-time, even if you're just starting out, you're going to need more help than ever because you as the physician, as the business owner, need to focus on the thing that makes you money. Because if you're combing through your emails, deleting stuff, responding to stuff, putting stuff off to the side, that does not generate you money. And neither does answering your phones. Even though it's important to our business, answering the phone and having to repeat yourself over and over again as to why you don't take insurance, or can you send me a super bill, or, all of these questions that could be answered by somebody who, is willing to do that for $6 an hour with appropriate training. Don't you think that would be a better use of your money so that you can buy back your time? At some point, you have to get to the level of maturity or awareness to realize that time is limited and you can actually buy back your time by getting help. And this is a really smart way to spend your money, to get that help, but not overspend. So even as a small practice, especially as a small practice, I would even argue, get the help now, start training them so that over time, as you get bigger and bigger, you get used to hiring help, you get better at becoming a hiring manager and a trainer and the Department of Human Resources. You can eventually teach your assistants to take over those jobs so that you get to be the doctor, you get to be the visionary for your business, you get to be the CEO. So I'm a first-time business owner. This is the first time I've owned a successful direct care practice or any kind of business to speak of. I've always been an employee. And I found myself wanting to do everything because I could, because it felt kind of like guilty asking for help, or I just didn't know how to ask for help, or it was kind of shameful to be like, I can't do that. I can't sweep. I can't clean after myself, right, in the office, that kind of stuff. And I also realized that a lot of doctors do this too. They are working in the business. They're doing chores. They're sweeping. They're cleaning the toilet. They are answering the phone, maybe even shooing away solicitors who come at the door. They are scheduling their own appointments. They are making their meals or eating their meals. Well, of course, you can't outsource people eating your meals, but you get the idea. These doctors are doing marketing runs. They're planning their day. And maybe they have a family, and so they come home at the end of the day and they're exhausted. All of this costs you energy and opportunities that should be reserved for doing higher revenue generating activities. So why is it that doctors insist on doing the work just because we can? This is the fastest way to burn out. And I have a hunch, I have an inkling as to why I was built that way. I think it has everything to do with the fact that I'm a first generation Asian American here in the United States. And my parents' immigrant family came with nothing, didn't even speak English, left all their family and friends behind for a new opportunity. So their mentality was always to work really hard so that you can appreciate the job that you have and the opportunities that's available to us here in the United States. So nothing was ever handed to us. If you wanted something, you had to work for it. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, like, okay, there are other people who are very successful and they look like they have time. They look like they have their sanity. How do I get that? How do I need to behave in order to have that kind of life where the money works for me, where things come easily, it seems to flow, where I'm not really working harder, I'm just working smarter? And it goes back to a book that I highly recommend you reading called Who, Not How. I'll put it down in the show notes, but it's all about hiring the right people. And your first step might be hiring a virtual assistant because it's economical and you can get a lot of stuff off of your plate. So at some point you got to choose, are you going to spend money or are you going to spend time doing the thing that you probably didn't really like doing? One of those, time or money, cannot be regenerated. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I hope you realize that it's time. Once you spend the time, you can never get it back. Whereas money will always come in one form or another. There's an infinite amount of money out there for you. You just have to know how to tap on the right door to get that. So before you hire somebody, decide on what you want to outsource. Ask yourself this, what am I doing that I don't love doing? And then ask yourself, can I outsource this? So make a list of things you don't love doing and decide, can I outsource this? Now, I know a lot of us perfectionists are out there who's going to say things like, only I can do it this way. When you say things like that, you are creating an excuse to not get the help that you actually need, which holds you back from your business growth. You need to delegate something eventually. And you also have to accept that the people you hire in the beginning, you have to train them. Yes, it takes time, but it also buys you time down the road. So upfront, there's an investment. And it's going to be so worth it when you find yourself with your time back. So no more excuses, get the help. Figure out what you don't want to do. For me in the beginning, I was doing a lot of social media content creation and I needed somebody to do some of that research stuff and I just outsourced it. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is exhausting. Just do this thing for me and I'll create the product. And that freed up a lot of my time. And I know you're going to find something that you don't love doing right now, where you're like, I'm just going to pay somebody $20 an hour or maybe $6 an hour so that I can focus on selling that package that I'm selling for $2,500 an hour. You see the impact that you can have if you focus on the right things? Because when you get your time back, you get your energy back. You get to focus on the fun stuff, the stuff that you actually want to do. And then you bring a lot of joy into your practice, and then suddenly more money comes in. That's the flow of money. Do the work that you love, the money will come. So what are the things that my virtual assistant does for me now? I currently have about 3 or 4 at any one time. All of them are part-time, but my main assistant does the following for me. She answers my office, my clinic phone calls. So she'll answer patient inquiries, schedule patients, book appointments. She'll do callbacks, follow-ups, whatever requires the phone, she's doing it. She's also doing research for my blogs so that she can maintain my website. She's also doing random tasks. Sometimes I'm looking for a product and a price, and I'm like, can you just call these people and figure that out for me? She'll do that and give me like a brief over it. When I give presentations to the community, she's the one that's putting together my slides for those webinars or those talks, and I just review them. I think one virtual assistant working 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week can cover most of that right there. Those are the things that you need in your business to grow. You need to do those outreach. You need to give those lectures. You need to figure out what your referral patterns are or revisit them. You got to get people on the schedule. You got to follow up with the people who canceled and didn't schedule and figure out, like, can I actually help this person? And then, of course, making sure you exist online. Like, all of that is probably going to be 90% of what you need right now. I'm just going to have you step back a little bit and have like a helicopter point of view and think about other businesses, massive businesses. How are they able to achieve that level of success? The CEO or the visionary of the business has one job, and their job is to make key decisions. And I think I heard this from, is it Jeff Bezos? He said, my only job is to make key decisions, and I need the energy, the bandwidth to make the right decision for his business, which means everything else, anything that gets in the way, anything that is potentially distracting must be outsourced. Now, you can have your feelings about Amazon, but nonetheless, it's a thing, right? It's like a household name. But how did he get there? And it's by ensuring that he hired the right people to make the system flow for him, and so that he can focus on the few things that truly matter to grow the business. And physicians need to think about it in the same manner. So if you're a first-time business owner and you haven't hired anybody yet, this is a really fun exercise. Just start looking into HelloRage. You can go to onlinejobs.ph, where I think you pay a monthly fee to post a job and select for the candidates who fit what you're looking for. There are many, many other freelance companies or medically associated companies who offer virtual assistants. Now, I'm not being sponsored. I just use them. You can decide how you want to use this information, but nonetheless, maybe you can find somebody local who just wants to work a few hours, because we are seeing lots of people who want more job flexibility, which means you might have overqualified people interested in being your virtual assistant. And that could be a great thing for you to give somebody a job, give them job training, and to also be part of your team. So virtual assistant, I can't even imagine my businesses without them. And I know once you get the hang of this, it's going to be such a big help for you as well. By the way, you can join my free private Facebook group if you want to discuss this at length to see what's working, what's not working, and I'll just meet you on the other side. Until next week, take care.
If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a review and share it with a friend so more doctors can learn about direct care. Let's keep the conversation going on LinkedIn so we can help more doctors escape insurance and thrive in private practice. Thanks for listening. I'll talk with you next time. Take care.